It is great to have you on the show tonight, hoping that you're doing well. My name is Paul K. Mwaura and welcome to The Entrepreneur. I think we have a responsibility to give back to our communities and help others in whatever way we can. I believe that a number of entrepreneurs have a unique set of skills that can benefit their local communities. Today, we have the pleasure to meet David Kuria, who identified a problem in the community and did everything he could in his power not only to establish an enterprise, but to help solve that problem. Approximately 60% of Kenyans in major cities live in slums across the country. Furthermore, there aren't effective and efficient waste disposal mechanisms. Armed with the know-how and passion to eradicate this problem is David Kuria, a qualified architect who has worked in both the public and private sectors.
I would want to date it back about 10 years ago. And the reality at that time was that in our city, actually, you could smell filth. You know, you could smell even 100, 200 meters away, because the toilets owned by the city council by then were very poorly managed. And actually, at that time, they had already been taken over by the street children. So when we were stepping in, we were actually wanting to address that menace and say, is it possible to have proper public sanitation in our cities? And if the answer is yes, then how must we do it? Now, at that time, during the era of the last constitution, the Local Government Act, the provision of sanitation was predominantly local authority. So this was purely a very new idea, where we are coming in and telling the council, you have been able or you have failed to deliver this service. Can we step in as a private sector? And that was not easy. I think it took me about 1 year trying to talk with different people in different departments within the council to be able to make a breakthrough.
One important aspect of the toilets was that they had to be sustainable. One way this was achieved was by getting this model to serve more purpose in the community by introducing services such as shoe polishing and kiosks.
Telling the council that you can put a snack in a public toilet was almost unthinkable because of the public health. And they were not sure that you can be able to maintain high quality. And those are some of the challenges you find on the way, that you have a great idea and you're trying to convince people who are still traditionally tied up on what has been before.
It cost David $3 million to put up one toilet.
And actually, I must be honest, that I visited about 9 Kenyan banks. And to them was like, they cannot fund a public toilet. What's the guarantee? You know, the normal banking requirements that we could not meet, because then we didn't have the securities and all that. To us, the security was the goodwill for this social venture. So it became almost impossible to do it.
Since the banks could not avail this loan, together with his founding partner, Dr. Nganga, they contributed to set up the first toilet. Afterwards, they got financed by Goodwill.
We applied for $1 million loan debt, which we managed to get. And that helped now scale the small idea we had of the eco-toilet, that we only thought we could only do one as a case study. And we started now spreading across the country.
David knew that his idea was a great breakthrough in solving urban sanitation challenges, but never imagined how far and fast it would spread.
We had to go now to every municipality, sign contracts with the local authority, and do it. And that's how we managed to do. Right now we have about 65 eco-toilets across the country. If you go to the city of Nairobi, you'll realize that our orange color is normal. It's now the green county color for all toilets. Why? Because we managed now to hand over the facility. But we entered into a management contract with the county government of Nairobi, where we are now continuing for the next 3 years on selected toilets. Purely again as model to ensure that we maintain the standards. But across the other areas across the country, we are still managing them as originally eco-toilets. Okay.
David left a senior position working in an NGO to pursue his idea and make it a reality.
The moment you believe in an idea, then you need to be able to package it. Because you could still be having a great idea and unpackaged. And that's what I would say, that you need a story of your idea. You know, the story of the eco-toilet can be traced, how it has evolved to where we are, the eco-toilet plus. So you need to tell the story, because you need audience, whether it's with the media, with the government, with the financing arm. They're not going to come looking for you. So you need to really package that idea into a story that you can be able to tell within 2, 3, 4, 5 minutes. You can tell your idea.
Sometimes the idea may be great, but is it really realistic?
Realistic idea, I would look at some few aspects. One is your own capacity to do it. Yeah, you're not going to do nuclear energy because you have a great idea on nuclear energy. So you need to look at ideas that you have the capacity, even if you're going to hire, but you're still the driver of that idea. Yeah, and that's where some of our background perhaps could have really helped us to shape in this as an architect. Okay, so you also need an idea that can be realized in terms of costs. If it's a multi-million idea, even before piloting, then that becomes very unrealistic. But if you have an idea that you're saying with $10,000, $5,000, you can be able to do it, there will be people listening and saying, what will be the impact, potential impact of this idea if I invest $10,000? The other key thing is that as you start making it, the tax regime puts you at the same level with KCB and Barclays. It doesn't work. In other countries, you'll see some relief that you're not taxed the same level with the big boys. I think in terms of business and enterprise, we need to look at two things: the income you are getting and the impact you are making, and try to see how am I balancing these two, because you could be making big impact and you are unable even to learn. Yeah, or you could be making a lot of money like most companies do without any social impact. Right now we are only charging 10 shillings per use, and we are able to provide water, we are able to provide electricity, we are able to provide tissue paper and soap for hygiene work, plus security. We have proper, cleaners throughout, so you feel safe even going or stepping into an eco-toilet. And we're able to do that with 10 shillings. Why? Because of the numbers.
In 2013, the eco-toilets were in use by close to 11 million Kenyans. David hopes to see this figure grow. He tells the entrepreneur that he adopts a liberal style when managing his enterprise. David has spoken in a number of forums and identified some major mistakes that entrepreneurs make, one of the biggest being expecting high returns in a very short period.
There will definitely be mistakes as you move along. The most critical thing is how do you mitigate extreme mistakes that will almost make you fall down in terms of the idea. So when you look at the idea of the eco-toilet, and the starting part of it is that the initial design, I had thought of very, very abstract idea. I had almost thought that if this thing works and succeed, banks in Kenya would want to step in. So in the initial design, I had provided for an ATM. Okay. So you guys could be going to the ATM in the eco-toilet to get your money. And I sold to several banks this idea. I have 10 million footprint per year, and these are your clients. So to me, it made all sense for the banks to put an ATM there. Yeah. After again visit to several banks, they could not buy an idea. How to put our ATM blood in a toilet, So those are some of the big challenges, and that's when I now thought that I need to rethink very fast. With this space of ATM being already incorporated in the design, approved by the authority, what do I do with it? And that's when I put the M-Pesa.
Even in light of mistakes, he tells entrepreneurs that they must keep their idea moving no matter what. His patience and persistence has seen him win a number of awards.
So I'm an Ashoka Fellow, and that's a global network of social entrepreneurs. I think it's one of the leading social enterprise organizations globally based in the US. I'm also a Schwab Fellow, which is purely World Economic Forum membership. And I'm also a member of the President Clinton Global Initiative on Environment and Climate Change. So there are several awards I've gotten for African Union, I was the finalist in Addis in terms of water conservation for Africa. And the big one was the Global Water Challenge in the US, which was about $200,000 award. And then also, I was also the winner of the United Nations International Best Practice 2012.
The Eco Toilet Plus is yet another breakthrough in solving sanitation in the urban and slum areas. It is the first vacuum toilet on land.
We need to start thinking in a countries like Kenya, where we are already talking about acute water shortage in our cities, and the cities are still growing. We need to rethink the entire usage of water. Can we afford to import water from Murang'a currently and come and flush it? So to us, the thinking was that if you put up a system like this, per flushing, we're only using a glass of water. Yeah, and that's just to wash the seat, because then it's vacuumated. Yeah, and those are some of the systems that are incorporated in this. It's a vacuum system, and vacuum can use solar to create the vacuum, or you can use electricity. And to us, this is what we are calling the Eco Toilet Plus, which is purely the next generation of thinking on toilets, both mobile and also fixed units.
And this is what David believes needs to be done to nurture the spirit of entrepreneurship in Kenya.
Yeah. Now, the government need to put up, whether it's at national level or at the county government level, they need to invest in incubating ideas. Because the first idea, when you listen to the young men and women, might not be excellent. And that's the idea that requires incubation. So that the young person can be told, sit down here, we are not taxing you, we have a space for you, you need power, it's here. We give you 2 years. Think about your idea before you start now paying rent. So you'll find young people with great ideas, but they're still at their home. They need power to fix 1 or 2 things, they can't get power. You know, and it's just cripple them down. So to me, is the infrastructure need to be put in place. Every county government need to put up an entrepreneur or an enterprise innovation center.
The best way to predict the future is to invent it. Alan Kay. Lesson: you can't wait around for good things to happen this year. You need to make them happen yourself.
Entrepreneurs are by definition leaders. Communities need someone with a vision who can identify potential for improvement in specific areas. Davis Courier's enterprise is not only giving employment, but is also solving sanitation problems in different communities. What is your enterprise doing for your community? As you think about that, we take a quick commercial break.
Fresh Freddy loves to shop.
If you remember that commercial, then you know who our next entrepreneur guest is in tonight. From a toothpaste commercial to selling chewable toothbrush.
Hey, Paul, how are you, sir?
Fine, fine. How are you?
Fantastic. It's good to see you, sir.
Good to see you too.
I'd like to introduce you to Sophie. She is the owner of Vamos Early and Late Bistro and a very good friend of mine. Thank you, sir. Sophie, kindly excuse us. Sure. Thank you.
It's a pleasure to have you on the show.
Thank you, Paul. It's a pleasure to be here.
Okay, how are you doing? And his real name is not Fresh Freddy, so tell us who you are.
Yes, my name is Paddy Mwangi. I'm 32 years old, born and bred in Nairobi. I'm firstborn of three children, 2 sisters, and my mother and father are here in Nairobi.
You're one person who loves what you do. Now talk to us about that near fatal mistake that you did that made you resign from your job.
Okay, maybe it'll start with how I ended up going to work in the UK. I basically studied pharmacy here in Kenya. I studied A-level maths, chemistry, biology, which qualified me to go into pharmacy in Bradford in the UK. But I didn't like it at all. In fact, that was one of my mistakes. I followed my own mistake, which was a family thing that people wanted me to do. But I decided, fine, I'll go ahead. But I was always a C student throughout my course. And eventually I started working, and 6 months into my job, I got a prescription for a baby, which was a 6-month-old baby, peppermint water, which is for colic. It's like gripe water. But you're meant to mix concentrate with water, 10% concentrate, 90% water. I forgot the water. I was in a hurry. I wanted to go home, and my shift was almost over. So I got the prescription, went into the dispensary. I concocted a poison, basically, and I was about to dispense it when God intervened through my friend, and he asked me whether I mixed it with water, and I told him I remembered I didn't. So I went back, I did the right thing, came back out. When I gave it to her, I decided that is the day I'll resign, and it was my turning point.
Paddy wasn't the only one dissatisfied with his career path. He found out that one of his good friends felt the same way too, and with that, Fuzzy Brush was conceived.
I remember there was a conversation we had in a restaurant, something like this actually, and we were just frustrated, and we thought, how do we make more money with the time we have? And at that point, we saw a couple kissing in a corner. And when we saw the couple kissing, I saw the guy stop and check his breath. And he checked his breath before he went for the kiss. And we asked each other, how do you do that in front of a woman? You know, you check your breath before you kiss. But I asked myself, what can we do to solve that problem? So one of the ideas we had is, why don't we give him a toothbrush, but it's portable and it has toothpaste on it. But we thought that's invasive. You can't interrupt someone and go and brush your teeth and come back. And we asked each other, what is a toothbrush? So with that question, we started drawing ideas on our piece of paper. And one of the ideas is we cut off the handle of a toothbrush, shorten it to the point where you can manipulate it with your tongue.
And with that, Fuzzy Brush was conceived. Fuzzy Brush is registered in the United Kingdom, and Paddy is looking to patent this product in various countries. Now, it took you 6 years to bring this idea to book. What made you not give up, and how has this product also taken off the ground?
Well, that's a very deep story. In fact, while I'll tell you that story, this place is like home. Can I go and get you something to drink or to snack on?
Yes, please.
Yeah?
I'm seeing something on the table here. There's a mixed forest berry juice. I think I'll have that.
That's the good stuff. Let me get you that, and I'll bring the samples as well.
All right.
1 second.
Okay.
As you can imagine, it was an idea that had not even been conceived. And that was the biggest problem, is trying to get people to understand, or the challenge was to get people to understand, what are we doing? Are we trying to give people value, or are we basically a failed idea before it's even conceived? But with the help of many people, including Jim, my friend, and several of his friends, and lecturers and other people who ended up helping us to get into the market through tests. We managed to give a test of about 6,000 pieces. I'm shortening the years, because what happened was we had to first patent the idea. We had to get it validated by the Food and Drug Association and the Dental Association in the UK, which is very stringent on some of the policies that they have. We failed many times. In fact, the original idea was not what it is now. Commercially, it has changed.
Convincing people to buy your product is no easy feat. Fuzzy Brush is not your ordinary toothbrush.
The head of the toothbrush looks like the head of a normal toothbrush.
Yes.
Yeah. The only difference is it's a bit smaller and it has a hole in the middle.
Okay.
The hole in the middle is deliberate, because in case you swallow it, you don't choke, because there's a threat of choking in case it's a young child. So that hole is deliberate. Once you move it around in your mouth, it acts like a normal toothbrush. You move it one side, it brushes the front part of your teeth. underside, it brushes the lower jaw. Then turn it upside down, it brushes your teeth within. And then turn it the other way around and outside.
I am now brushing my teeth, so it really works well. You mentioned someone called Jim.
Yes.
That you're in partnership with.
Yes.
Now, how do you draw boundaries, and how have you been able to work along together?
Okay. One of the good things about working with a friend, and not just a friend, but you're both involved in the creation and execution, is you need a team. This would never have worked without a team player. And I had to learn how important it is to share your profits and share your successes as well as your failures. Because if I had gone into this myself, I would have risked my own money, and not just my own money, but everything that I would have put in would be under my own weight and my own strength. I wouldn't have gone very far. Leveraging on his network has helped me grow.
They had to network and build relationships with various suppliers and agents in order to stretch the product's reach.
Given 8 years of timeline, we've grown, and we've grown pretty well. From 25,000 pieces in, I think, 6 months after we started, to almost 500,000 within another 6 months, and then 2 million immediately after that. Now we're selling out the license, and we still hold patent. So that's become our biggest asset, is the patent. Many people have good ideas, but no one is willing to execute. So ask yourself, am I ready to take this idea to the next level?
And how is the acceptance? How is the reception here? Are people receiving it very well here?
Yes, here in nightclubs, bars, restaurants, places where there's a lot of traffic, yes, the reception is good. And we're also looking at going into the military, because there are places within Africa where water is a big problem, and delivery of potable water, safe drinking water, and even for military use when they're training, the last thing you want is a problem with water about hygiene. Oh, here we go.
Thank you.
So what we've done, we look for places where we can leverage on volume.
Okay.
Because in order for us to get the kind of relationships we have with our suppliers, we need to be able to order huge volumes so that our cost of production goes down. But consistency of sale is the one challenge. So now we're looking at new ways, like airlines. The airline industry is quite big. So when you're next on a plane, look out for this, because we'll be putting it in the food packs. When you get your serving in a plane, or even in a train, or certain long distance buses, we'll be doing this as well.
Establishing an enterprise takes sacrifice.
A lot of times, you get rejected so many times, you also get a bit frustrated. So I think that affected the relationship that I was in, even with Jim. He put a lot of his effort in, and so did I. But I think we were a bit stubborn, a little bit persistent. Okay, persistent is a better word. You just say, I have nothing to lose. If I put all my money in now, I have nothing else to lose, so I might as well just keep going. The next one was when we were filing for patent, but we realized that we might not get it, and yet there was an opportunity to sell our license to Oral-B. Those were nerve-wracking moments, because had we not pushed through, I don't think we'd have been able to attract a guy like Oral-B on board to take on the license. I had to learn the discipline of paying yourself first. I used to spend more than I earned, and that had to change. So my lifestyle had to take a bit of a rain check and ask myself, do I really need what I'm buying? So these luxuries that people were going for at my age at that time, and even the opportunities that they were looking at, holidays and whatnot, I had to discipline myself and say, it's not now. And the money that we made, we put it back into the business, which was difficult because it's an emotional shift. And one of my mentors, a very good friend of mine, Anthony Wahome, he advised me to read a book. It's called The E-Myth by Michael Gerber. He was asking the question that, are you do you have a business or do you have a job?
Paddy Mwangi has also written a motivational book called Beyond Your Limits.
My mother, she at some point, and it's in the book, I used to help her grow trees in her backyard. One of the trees was an avocado tree. And I had a seed in my hand, and she asked me, how many avocados do you have in that seed? So I told her, I don't even have one avocado. Then I said, no, what if you plant it? You get a tree. How many avocados come out of one tree? Many. Then how many avocados come out of that one seed from that tree? Many. So when you have one seed, you have no idea how many you can actually grow. So to understand the value of what you have already and not to sell your birthright is very key. The worst thing to do is to give up. Because if you give up, you'll never know how it feels to try. And when you feel pain, you actually know you're alive. So when you have a loss, you know that you tried. At least you understood how it feels to try.
My work, my family, I want it to mean something. And it's like, if you are not making someone else's life better, then you're wasting your time.
One of the things that stand out from the two entrepreneurs that we feature tonight is that they are very clear about their goals and passionate too. Who and what do you want to be in the next 5 to 10 years? Write to us on entrepreneur@standardmedia.co.ke, and also remember to engage us on our social media pages, which are Facebook, KTN The Entrepreneur, Twitter @KTN Entrepreneur. Let the conversation continue. It's goodbye and good luck from us.